But Nvidia also steps up their game in joining the race for an autonomous future. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang just announced what they call the world's first thinking, reasoning, autonomous vehicle AI, launching on US roads later this year, starting with Mercedes CLA. Well, for him to call it the world's first thinking and reasoning autonomous vehicle AI is, of course, bit of a stretch, as Tesla already have that and has had this for more than a year. But let's just hear it from Jensen himself.
Today we're announcing Autonomy, the world's first thinking, reasoning autonomous vehicle AI. Autonomy is trained end to end, literally from camera in to actuation out. The camera in, lots and lots of miles that are driven by itself, where we human drive it, driven using human demonstration. And we have lots and lots of miles that are generated by Cosmos.
So a lot of miles driven by human with no specific number is probably also not that many when we compare it to Tesla that has collected over 7 billion miles. I would be surprised if Nvidia have passed 7 million miles. But as you can hear, it works exactly just how Tesla is doing it. Camera in, actuators out. So not doing it the LiDAR way. But doing a demonstration is, of course, the easy part. Having this in customers' hands, like we see with Tesla's full self-driving supervised, being used by millions every single day, is, of course, a long way off. And legacy automakers, of course, also have to adjust their vehicle production to get the new hardware and software working with their cars. So even though this is a great step in the right direction, and I think Nvidia will probably succeed down the road, but I do think it will be like 5 years in the future before we will see this at true scale that really matters, and that they have solved full self-driving at a level that we see with Tesla today, as Elon Musk also wrote to a reply to Sawyer on X. You're right, the actual time from when full self-driving sort of works to where it is much safer than a human is several years. The legacy car makers won't design a camera and AI computer into their cars at scale until several years after that. So this is maybe a competitive pressure on Tesla in 5 or 6 years, but probably longer. Yes, so you might see the headlines already about how Tesla should worry now, just like we saw it with basically every EV model that came out back in the days. Tesla is in trouble. Tesla killer. Well, we are still waiting for all those Tesla killers. But as Elon also wrote about Nvidia's approach, well, that is just what Tesla is doing. Yes, not copying Waymo, but copying Tesla. What they will find is that it is easy to get to 99% and then super hard to solve the long tail of distribution. Yes, we all know this, and this is also why I think we have quite a few years before this will become any kind of true competitor to Tesla software. As Tesla already is at scale, it's only a matter of solving the last tail of the distribution. So Tesla is ready now to deploy this worldwide, the Tesla full self-driving supervised software, and is only waiting for regulatory approval, where Nvidia is partnering with other automakers, is only starting now with prototypes and are far off having this at scale in volume production. So even though Nvidia might bring something good to the table for all legacy automakers down the line, I think they still are missing one critical piece, and that is the real-world data that Tesla has with their 7 billion miles of full self-driving. As Jensen even said himself at the event, it is impossible for them to get all the data from real-world edge cases because they just simply don't have a fleet. So Nvidia does not have that fleet of cars like Tesla does to collect data, so they will have to rely much more on artificial data. Let's see how easy it will be for Nvidia to come up with something that is as capable as Tesla's system is today. But Nvidia is not that close to Tesla as people think, as Tesla is already testing their unsupervised full self-driving system. So this is like a level 4 system with the same setup. But Nvidia still believes they need LiDAR and other sensors for level 3 and level 4. So in my view, this also means that Nvidia is not close on solving level 3 and level 4, but Tesla is. So in my opinion, Nvidia's system also have a long way to go.
Ours is also vision-based. Of course, we have in addition to vision, we also have radar and LiDAR. But otherwise, the approach is rather similar. I think Elon's approach is about as state-of-the-art as anybody knows of autonomous driving and robotics, and so it's a stack that's hard to criticize. I wouldn't criticize it. I would just encourage them to continue to do what they're doing. They're doing a great job.
Even though Nvidia is coming out with this technology, Jensen is still putting Tesla at the far front of the race, as he said in an interview.
Don't be surprised. First of all, I think the Tesla stack is the most advanced AV stack in the world, and I think the Tesla AV operations is the most advanced in the world, and I'm fairly certain that they were already using end-to-end AI.
Yes.
And whether their AI also did reasoning or not is somewhat secondary to that first part.
I think his point.
So don't know if you remember this chart that Tesla was dead last in autonomy. Well, Jensen from Nvidia has Tesla as number 1. So the haters can scream all they want about Tesla is doomed now because of Nvidia is magically going to catch up to Tesla's AI software overnight apparently. Well, even Nvidia CEO doesn't think so. He still put Tesla out in front. But very cool to see Nvidia entering the race for autonomous vehicles, and just as Elon wrote, I am not losing any sleep about this. And I generally hope they succeed. Yes, indeed. The more autonomous vehicles we can get on the road, the better for us humans. And let's see how soon you and I, as a consumer, can go to a Mercedes dealership and buy a car that can drive itself basically everywhere, like we know it from Tesla with supervised full self-driving. It will probably be a while, but Lucid is also trying to enter the autonomous game, but as they can't do it themselves either, like basically everyone but Tesla, it is also using Nvidia's full self-driving technology, but also a lot more, and will probably end up having the world's most expensive robo-taxis if they succeed, as Sawyer wrote. Lucid today unveiled its production intent robo-taxi vehicle, developed in partnership with Group, Neuro and Uber, that will power its global robo-taxi service. They also debuted today the Uber design in-cabin rider experience. So Lucid has partnerships with 4 third-party companies to try to make this work, and Lucid is at the same time losing about $250,000 on every EV they sell. So their robotaxis will no doubt make even Waymo's robotaxis look extremely affordable. This will no doubt be the most expensive robotaxi to ever hit the streets. Not saying they will never be able to do this. They probably can with time, but they will never ever become cost competitive with something like Tesla and their Cybercab. But a lot of cool things is happening in the autonomous space, so let's keep an eye on when Tesla will actually have their unsupervised release to the world and make that the starting point to see who will be the next to have a car that can drive everywhere on any service on the entire planet, and see how long it takes for anyone to be able to replicate that.